When the CFTC approved XRP as acceptable collateral, they didn't just say, yeah, sure, throw it in the mix. No, collateral is the backbone of the derivatives system. It's the assets institutions trust enough to post when they're taking on leverage or hedged positions. So if you want to simplify it, collateral equals the asset Wall Street is willing to bet millions on. You don't use junk collateral. You don't use hype coins. You don't use assets with weak liquidity. You use assets that have deep liquidity, proven reliability, settlement capability, commodity-like stability, and regulatory clarity. And that's the real headline here, is that XRP just got treated like a commodity-grade settlement asset. Let me give you a few implications of this that nobody's probably explaining in a simple way. Number one, collateral assets get locked, not traded. So once XRP is posted as collateral, it's not floating on exchanges. It's not being flipped. It's not creating volatility. And it's also not increasing circulating supply. It is effectively removed from the open market and held in institutional custody. So when supply tightens and demand starts rising from institutional uses, price doesn't have a choice. It must adjust upward over time. And this is just simple math. Now, number two, you cannot run trillion-dollar derivatives on low-value asset. The derivatives system is massive, over 1 quadrillion globally. Assets used inside that system need to be priced in a way that allows them to handle high-volume settlement and collateralization. This has happened every single time in financial history. Gold rose before it became core derivatives collateral. Bitcoin rose before CME futures adoption. And major FX pairs hold value because they are derivatives backbone. Collateral assets don't chase price. Price re-rates to meet the demands of collateral. Let me say that again. Collateral doesn't follow speculation. Collateral forces valuation. Number three, XRP now sits on balance sheets. This is a big shift. Institutions can now hold XRP as recognized commodity, pledge XRP, lend against XRP, and integrate XRP into structured financial products. Before this decision, XRP was that crypto that SEC was fighting. And now it is stepping into the infrastructure layer of U.S. financial markets. And then number four, this was not a price story. This was a plumbing story. I have to repeat that because everybody is looking at the charts, waiting on a move. By the time the move happens, you are already too late to the party. And that's why I'm educating you in the macro environment, so that you can align your conviction to the actual macro story, which really gives the sober implications of where this price could move in the near future. So let me reiterate this. Plumbing always moves before price. We saw the pipes shift, but we just haven't seen the repricing yet. But listen, the pipes always move first.
Good morning, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite crypto news related channel. And you guys heard it here. We're going to be breaking down a $12.2 trillion injection from the Federal Reserve. What is happening here? How is this set to impact crypto prices? And one thing I want our listeners to understand is retail always gets it wrong. With retail investors selling their XRP, selling their Bitcoin, moving out of crypto, I am more optimistic than ever than just a couple of headlines here could completely flip the momentum of the market. And that's what I'm going to be taking you guys through today. We're also going to be breaking down some really interesting things that are happening in the XRP price chart. Now, I wanted to start off right here as XRP has printed 5 red monthly candles for the first time since 2016 and 2017, which was then followed by a 60,000% gain on the XRP price chart. I'm going to be doing a brief analysis on this later on in the episode, but as you guys can tell in the monthly chart that I have on my screen, the last time that we saw 5 negative months of price action for XRP, these are the green candles that followed. So if we get something even remotely similar with the passing of the Clarity Act, the infrastructure being laid, we could see some major momentum in the crypto space. And I'm going to start off today's episode by going over the $12.2 trillion injection that is set to occur inside of America. But we're also going to be talking about some interesting things in regards to the Clarity Act. Paul Barron, there's a massive White House crypto summit taking place this Friday, which is going to be chaired by David Sachs. He stated it is hammer time on the market structure bill. three big predictions: a truce between the banks and stablecoins, an official treasury protocol for the strategic reserve, which includes XRP, and the SEC safe harbor guidelines to stop the lawsuits and start the building here inside the United States. But we already have over 1,200 live listeners here, 830 watching on YouTube. If you're excited, you enjoy this content, smash that like button. And I want to hear from you guys in the live chat. One's in chat if you're bullish, two's in chat if you're bearish. Now, I want our listeners to understand, if XRP is able to regain the $1.65 price target, this could completely flip the momentum and reshape the direction of this price chart well before retail investors had anticipated. It's another example of retail always getting it wrong. And I do want to give a massive thank you to Dane out there for the $10 donation and the membership. He said, "For my dogs out here doing it, rain or sunshine, give me the scoop. I'm still hungry." Shout out to you. We appreciate the optimists out there. And like we know in the crypto space, oftentimes our optimism pays off on the back end when money rotates back into digital assets. But I'm going to start off the show with a warning that you guys may not be prepared for. So earlier this week, we had Zach XBT confirm on February 26th, only 24 hours from today, he is going to be dropping a major investigation on one of the world's largest and most profitable crypto businesses, where multiple employees abused internal data and insider trading over a prolonged period of time. So we got to speculate on this. Could this be the final catalyst? Well, I don't think so, because let's look at this news here. Update: Jane Street just ordered to halt the manipulation on Bitcoin. I'm going to be taking you guys through one more article. I'm throwing all this at you at the beginning of the episode, but trust me, we're going to go through all these individual topics. Was Jane Street the secret villain behind the $40 billion Terra Luna collapse back in 2022? There is some shocking data that was revealed in these court documents yesterday that go to show Wall Street crashed crypto back during the 2022 bear market. Well, we've got an update on that that's impacting us right here, right now, from Mike Alfred, who said he just got off the phone with his guy at Jane Street. The desk was given an urgent memo by management last night ordering an immediate cessation of all manipulative trading on Bitcoin. That means he's anticipating Bitcoin will go up going forward because this manipulation is behind us. I'm going to start off this episode right here, guys. If you're enjoying this content, smash that like button. Stick around for the whole episode. You guys are going to appreciate this. And most importantly, if you're reading the headline and saying, where's that $12 trillion topic? I am going to be taking you guys through this Twitter thread right here. This is saying 12.2 trillion in short-term T-bills could be hitting the system in 6 to 7 months. That is 2.5 times larger than the liquidity injection that we got for COVID. So stick around for that. We're going to start off right here. We're going to have Johnny Krypto joining us as well. Let's kick it off.
Zach XBT going to say something about World Liberty Finance. Zach XBT, crypto's main investigator, doing God's work, crypto Twitter's work, right? Saying over here, major investigation dropping on the 26th. One of crypto's most profitable businesses where multiple employees abuse internal data to inside trade over a long period of time is going to be releasing all of that information. We just got this. Is it going to be a repeat, right? Is it going to be a repeat of the Luna collapse? Because some people think that it smells like Luna 2.0. And we started to see some fishy things after that tweet came out, right? After Zach XBT said this, we of course had Eric Trump deleting all of his posts about World Liberty Finance. And then we had USD1, World Liberty Finance's stablecoin, depegged. Look at that, absolutely depegged. And then he went after that and he posted about World Liberty Finance. So basically, obviously, knew that he's depegging this thing because everybody is following his account and what he was doing. Is it going to be that? Is it going to be that? Is Zach XBT going to say something about World Liberty Finance? You know, we know that it's all a rug when it comes to Trump and Melania coin. I told you guys those things are going to literal zero.
So I don't believe that Trump and Melania are going to zero, but I do think that there is definitely some Wall Street manipulation happening behind the scenes. And these 2022 court documents that I'm going to take you through right here definitively prove that Wall Street was a major player when it came to the collapse of crypto assets during the 2022 bear market, in a development that could reshape the perceptions of one of cryptocurrency's most infamous failures. A federal lawsuit that was filed on February 23rd of this year accuses quantitative trading firm Jane Street of exploiting confidential information to accelerate the depegging of the UST Terra Luna stablecoin. This contributed to a $40 billion market wipeout, and many people say this is what caused the bear market of 2022. But according to the complaint, Jane Street obtained confidential details about Terraform's emergency moves through their insider connections. This included employees like like Bryce Pratt and Michael Huang, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, plus co-founder Robert, can't pronounce his last name, which was named in the lawsuit. But here's the timeline. On May of 2022, Terraform quietly withdrew $150 million worth of their stablecoin from Curve 3's liquidity pool. This wasn't announced publicly, but it was an intentional defense mechanism to support the DPEG. A wallet linked to Jane Street allegedly executed the largest single US Terra sale in that pool's history, dumping $85 million worth of the stablecoin. The lawsuit claims that this massive sell-off, done with the advanced knowledge of a liquidity removal, was the catalyst that pushed UST below $1 and ignited the death spiral. That rapid sell-off, which occurred just 10 minutes after the initial $150 million was removed, the filing argues that this was the tipping point that broke Terra Luna and triggered the death spiral, where Luna ultimately went to zero. Well, the allegations of betrayal and insider ties, the lawsuit goes beyond just the trade itself, alleging a deeper web of interactions. Jane Street executives, including the ones I had named prior, reportedly engaged in discussions with Terraform's leadership, including the founder Do Kwon. These talks included expressions of interest in a potential bailout, as Jane Street purposely considered injecting $200 million up to $500 million by purchasing a discounted stablecoin or Bitcoin reserve. Group chats and communications cited in the complaint suggest that Jane Street positioned itself as a possible rescuer, gaining access to sensitive details in the process. Instead, the lawsuit contends that the firm used this non-public information to front-run the crypto market, unloading positions just before the full collapse. So instead of being the savior here, they are the ones who collapsed the entire market. The claims include violation of securities and commodities laws, fraud, and unjust enrichment, with Schneider seeking disgorgement of profits, damages, and a jury trial. So we're going to learn a whole lot more about the impact that this had and the information that was known behind the scenes. But I want to hear from you guys. One's in chat if this is very, very shocking news for you. Two's in chat if you always thought Wall Street was the manipulator behind the great crypto collapse that we experienced back in 2022. Now, we do got Johnny Crypto here, so I'm going to start breaking down the really exciting topic that I know our listeners are here for. A $12.2 trillion injection could be coming into the American economy through the Federal Reserve. I just talked about the bear market in 2022, Johnny, but why am I breaking this down? Look at this update we just got out of Mike Alfred. So according to reports, Jane Street desks were given the urgent memo to immediately cease the manipulative trading of Bitcoin, with algos reportedly being shut down, meaning algorithms have been turned off. Market manipulation by major trading firms is now confirmed. And here's the exact statements that our listeners have been waiting for. Just got off the phone with my inside guy at Jane Street, said Mike Alfred. He said his desk was given an urgent memo by management last night ordering an immediate cessation, or meaning the turning off of all manipulative trading on Bitcoin. His team immediately shut off the 10 a.m. algorithm. He thinks that Bitcoin probably goes up now. Well, great. We're seeing that momentum hit the open markets this morning. Bitcoin back above 68,000, XRP trading at $1.45. And there's a couple of key price targets I am going to break down for our listeners later on in the episode. But Johnny, why is this important to me as a crypto trader, as somebody who's been in this space? Because it goes to show Wall Street was behind the collapse in 2022. And guess what? They're going to be behind the bull market in 2026 after the Clarity Act is passed, after the manipulative selling is behind us. And that's where that $12.2 trillion injection really becomes important for the Good Evening Crypto community, guys. But we already have over 2,000 live listeners here joining us. I wanted to let you guys know. So on X, there was a StreamYard issue where the streams weren't being posted. Last night, I did my research. I figured out how to work around that issue. So if you're seeing this on X, congratulations. We are back in action on that platform. And we already passed over 320 likes for today's episode. The goal for today, can we hit 589? Could be a great sign here, Johnny. But before we get into the content, why don't you talk to our crypto maniacs? How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling great. Good morning to all the crypto maniacs out there. We love and appreciate you guys for showing up every single day. And Abs, you might as well get used to Wall Street manipulation, my friend. Wall Street has been doing it since the day it was invented. It's going to do it until the day it's dead. You better expect it. When there's money to be made, there will be manipulation to be done. That's just how it works. I already smashed the like button, so I hope the rest of you smash it too. But you just have to understand that there's too much money at stake in play. I'm not surprised. Jane Street manipulating here, JP Morgan manipulating gold and silver. I mean, it's just how it works. The whole market's manipulated. You have to understand you're playing in a rigged game, and you can't try to unrig the game. That's just pointless. Don't waste it. The reality is, all you could try to do, or at least the way I look at it, is you try to front run the game. You try to get in the game. I don't even want to say front runner, but you try to get in the game before things start to happen. And that's about all you can do, because it's going to get manipulated even when it's legit. Okay. But that doesn't mean there can't be a lot of money to be made if you're in early enough. And that's what happened. Attaboy, Mountain Valley. I'm Italian, man. I got my Aquapana, brother. Forget that American stuff.
Nope.
You got to drink the good stuff.
Absolutely.
But the point being is that no surprise that Jane Street was manipulating, and they're going to deny. They're all going to do that, right? But the reality is, you just got to figure, okay, we front run, we get in, and we get ready for the speculative bull run that's coming. Because I agree with you totally. Wall Street is 100% going to be ready for that massive speculative bull run. They're already positioning themselves. Most of them are already positioned. The ones who aren't positioned will get in position before they won't even let the Kodiak get done until they're in it. But so to me, that's kind of what we're looking at, my friend, is just get in when you can. Get in early.
Guys, before we get into this $12.2 trillion injection, first of all, Clinton, we are going to go over the XRP price chart that you shared on your Twitter. So shout out and thank you to you. Also, this user commented, big thank you to Dane. This is how you know this guy listens to the show. He goes, Johnny, put that thing on mute, Johnny K. All love. Always great to see you. Johnny, can't do it. He can't do it until he loses the weight, guys.
People love the ringer. They love the ringer. I gotta let it. It rings and rings. It's a natural part of this show.
And of course, guys, we keep it lighthearted. The ringer is part of the routine, and we love Johnny Krypto. I do have a couple of major guests, and we are going to get into the 12.2 trillion right here, right now. But I wanted to let you guys know we've got Mikkel joining the show on March 3rd. I'm also working with somebody from the Patrick Bet David podcast who could be joining our channel in early March. Johnny knows who I'm hinting at. We're going to save the details for later on when we make that official announcement. But guys, you are going to be excited. Now, Johnny, one final note, because people want to know, are we going to get rich? Is this going to impact our portfolios? Well, here's the truth. What's shocking here is they're publicly putting this information out that Jane Street had his immediate shutdown of the algorithms at 10 a.m. Well, what have we been witnessing since October? Every single day at 10 a.m., a huge liquidity wick comes into Bitcoin and wipes out all the momentum. Doesn't matter what's happening in the market. Things can be good. Things can be bad. We've seen that liquidity wick come in time and time again. If they shut it off, and if this is a real narrative, guys, we just got the manipulative selling that's been suppressing the crypto market. It's officially gone. And that means assets can survive and thrive in this environment, not just Bitcoin, maybe creating its lows and not dipping to some of the ranges that people are waiting for. And it's funny, Johnny, because I got to look at myself in an objective manner, right? I'm a bull. Maybe I'm even too bullish. Maybe I'm too optimistic at times when it comes to the crypto space. One of the things that I've noticed about myself is even I am anticipating another leg down. I wouldn't be surprised at all if I got it wrong, right? Because I'm objective. And I notice that a lot of times, somebody said interview blockchain backer, we can absolutely make that happen. We've done it before. But one of the things that I've absolutely noticed, Johnny, is that when I start turning bearish, because I'm objective, I look at myself in the mirror and I go, this guy gets it wrong too. I notice that when I start get bearish, that's when the market's at a bottom. That happened in 2022. It happened in 2024 prior to Donald Trump getting elected. And the same vibes are happening right now in the crypto space, where I'm looking at the market and I'm like, we got one final leg down. I see guys like Zach Rector saying this. I see guys like Digital Perspective saying this. And we're typically the bulls. So what does that mean? It means that the sentiment is at an all-time low. It means the bulls are now bears. It means the bears are now bulls. When you look at blockchain backer, who's been bearish the last 6 months, he's now bullish. He now thinks the bottom is in. And that's where I defer to Clinton's price chart, because this was a great analysis. And shout out to Clinton, guys. He's in the live chat. You're an awesome player, and we appreciate him being a part of our community. And shout out to Gonzo. He gives a shout out to Gonzo in this tweet as well. We love and appreciate Gonzo, guys. He said last year, Gonzo and I were talking about the Wyckoff accumulation pattern on XRP. So I drew it out on the chart chart below. We're still in this spring phase, as you guys can see, which wicked us down to that low $1 range. And until we get a confirmation that we have moved into the test phase. So now that confirmation for XRP would be getting above $1.60 and holding it as support. The blue line is just directional, but the time frame is based. Although it has been pretty close since I drew out this chart, not financial advice, just financial speculation here. But once again, Johnny Krypto, this leads me to believe, again, sentiment is at an all-time low. Price chart is extremely low. Bulls are flipping to bears. Bears are flipping to bulls. We have entered the upside down land territory. And I know I'm saying a lot. I'm going to get into this 12.2 trillion thing. I'm really excited to break it down. But this all is part of the same conversation where we just got the manipulative sellers out. We have those lows in. Sentiment is also at an all-time low. Give me your read on this and what your thoughts are overall.
This is exactly how the game is played. So the elites are always going to try to FUD out retail. They're always going to scare them away to see how low they can drive. Don't forget they even short it to bring it down. And then they push it as low as humanly possible. Typically, you can tell the fibs will kind of, will hold up one of the levels. And then they'll reverse it. And that's exactly the game. It's exactly how it's playing out. I love it. I love this time right now. Everybody's worried. Everything's going low. Listen, 65 is just kind of where it seems like a very, 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 I told you this a couple times, maybe off the air, that I felt 65 was a very, very strong support level for Bitcoin when you just look at historic charts. And so whatever prices align with that on the other altcoins, that's kind of what I felt. We're near the bottom. There's no doubt about it. And I don't care if we go a little bit lower. Anyway, it doesn't bother me because I don't think we're going too much lower. I really think now the bottom has been placed in. It's allowing all of the institutional players to come in the game now before the Clarity Act. And then once they wipe these, wipe out the retail, let their buddies come in. Once the Clarity Act comes in, then you may these prices, you may not see them again for another 10 years. I mean, again, we saw that happen in 96, 97, where we had a massive speculative bull run, went up for 2 to 3 years, and it took, and then pulled back. And it took about 10 years to get back to those speculative bull run prices again. I think a similar thing will happen here, Abs. So for me, this is like a blessing. If you're new to crypto and you're coming in right now and you're wondering, oh my God, should I buy? These things are down. Like, yeah. I mean, again, not financial advice. We're not financial advisors. But if there was ever a time to be buying, this would be that time when sentiment is really low. Price is sitting on massive support levels from prior pumps. And so it's just literally lining up to be the perfect timing with the perfect narratives that are coming, which is going to be the Clarity Act. Obviously, that's the big one. We keep hearing all over the place now that we're very, very close to getting it done. I think it's going to happen. It's going to be a half-assed bill, right? It isn't going to be what Coinbase wants, but it's going to be good enough, Abs, to move this whole entire industry forward. And more importantly, to bring that massive amount of liquidity into this space that's then going to create the speculative bull run that we're all going to benefit from. So you asked the question earlier, are we going to get rich? Listen, that all depends on your holdings and what you got in. But are we going to make some money? Absolutely. I think we're going to make some money if we're just patient and we got to wait. And by the way, I'm not saying that the Clarity Act passes today and the market goes up tomorrow, because I know all of you are thinking that right now, aren't you? Put a 1 in the chat if you think that the next day or a week later, the market's going to skyrocket. You're going to be pissed if it doesn't when the Clarity Act comes, because it ain't going to happen that way. We're going to get the Clarity Act, and then nothing's going to happen. There'll be silence for a while. And then maybe after these companies start to understand, that's right, show me the money. After they understand the rules, how we're going to play it, then money will start, I think, to come into the space. Retail will come in and it'll drive the whole thing up massively. So I think that's how it's going to play. Don't expect it to happen overnight, but expect it to happen a few months later.
One other thing I think people have forgotten about, because the market has been so trashed, Johnny, for lack of a better word, people have been desperate to see some gains. I think they've forgotten about the actual vision for crypto, and the vision for the XRP ledger is becoming the base layer for national banking. It's a liquidity solution for the central banking system. If that happens, that $12.2 trillion injection headline, that's going to be peanuts in the grand scheme of things over these next 5 or 10 years. And that's what I'm going to start breaking down right here. But Johnny, correlating what we just talked about with the Wyckoff accumulation, we also got this massive indicator here. XRP just printed 5 red monthly candles for the first time since 2016 and 2017, which was followed by what? 60,000% gains in the XRP price chart. That's not hyperbolic. That is literally what happened. And you guys are looking at the data right here. I just want to make sure I'm not blocking the screen with the smash to like, but you guys can see back in 2017, we are looking at the monthly time frame. These are the 5 red candles that he was hinting at, right? From October of 2016 all the way until March of 2017. Wouldn't it be fitting if from October of 2025 to March of 2026, the exact same timeline leads us to some similar price action? Well, what happened after those 5 months of red candles, Johnny? I think these candles pretty much speak for themselves. 60,000% gains, so much so that you can't even see how big these candles are, right? They go from visible on the screen to basically invisible. And so if we were going to see something similar with this Wyckoff accumulation, with the Clarity Act, with everything that we've been discussing, well, then we could see some similar momentum. We don't need 60,000% gains. I'll take 600% gains at this point. That would take us well above that $8 price target, guys. But I want to hear from you. Ones in chat if you believe we break our all-time high in 2026. Twos in chat if you think we remain under the all-time high for this entire calendar year. Well, we're going to waste no more time. We've touched all the important topics, Johnny, and we're going to start breaking down the topic I believe the thousands of people are here for. This is the breaking news. Okay, if this is true, something biblical is about to happen to crypto. That is according to Mark, this user on Twitter. This is saying $12.2 trillion in short-term T-bills is hitting the system in this next 6 to 7 months. For comparison, quantitative easing during COVID was $4.8 trillion over 2 years. This is 2.5 times bigger in the fraction of the same time. COVID's quantitative easing saw Bitcoin go from $4,000 to $69,000. That is 1,600% gains. Alts, they did 1,000 to 13,000% gains during that exact same time. That's not exactly quantitative easing. It's a different label. Same result, liquidity. This dwarfs the COVID QE, and it's hitting a whole lot faster than it did over that 2-year period. Well, as exciting as it would be, and as much as I would like $12 trillion to just come into crypto, that's not exactly what's happening here. So I wanted to give our listeners a simple explanation of what's happening. So this particular tweet is claiming that $12.2 trillion worth of T-bills is going to be entering the U.S. government economy in the next 6 to 7 months. They're comparing it to COVID, where $4.8 trillion came in over 2 years. This is saying it's 2.5 times the liquidity and happening at a faster pace. But it's not new money flooding the system. It's a little bit different than that. It's mostly the government reborrowing the same debt over and over. So T-bills are short-term loans. That means they range from a few months to about a year. They constantly expire, and the government pays them back, then immediately sells new ones to get the cash out again. The outstanding T-bills are around $6 to $7 trillion right now. So the 12.2 trillion number is basically gross and not net new cash. It doesn't mean 12 trillion is coming into the market. It means 12.2 trillion is being bought and sold in total. So a good example of this, Johnny, you owe me $100. You pay me that $100, and then you immediately borrow the $100 again. If you do that 122 times in 6 months, you've just borrowed $12,000, but you never actually gave any extra money. Your debt level stayed at $100 the entire time. So that's what's happening here. When people describe a rollover of debt, it's not the printing or the flooding of money into the system. Instead, it's the rolling over of the same money. Now, during COVID, the Fed literally created brand new dollars out of thin air and printed that money into the American economy. Right now, no new dollars are being created, but the Fed is actually shrinking their balance sheet, which is the opposite of QE. And there's some debate about that, but we'll just go with that example for the time being. What's the bottom line here? The $12.2 trillion headline is real, but the biblical prophecy of new liquidity is not. It's mostly just government recycling existing debt, and there's not a repeat of a COVID-style crisis yet. So again, what are we watching for? How much money is going to come into this market, and how is that going to impact crypto prices? For the short term, Johnny, this is something that we talked about with Raul Paul as well. The restructuring of the debt playing a very important role in the bull market that we're going into. What's your initial reaction to this one?
Yeah, you kind of nailed it perfectly. At the end of the day, nobody should walk away thinking it's new money. The only way we would get excited or feel that it would flow its way into, $12 trillion going into the crypto market is it would have to be $12 trillion of new money, not recycled debt. So for me, I don't get excited about stuff like that. Like you said, it's borrowing the same money I already owe you. There's no new money added, no new liquidity. It's not going to find itself a new place to go and to risk on assets. So from that perspective, nobody should get too excited. I disagree with him when he says new liquidity. Maybe it is in his mind because it's reset, but it's not new. It's new, but it's not additional. And that's what we're looking for is additional money. In fact, you already just said that the Fed is going the opposite direction. They're, if they continue to shrink, then you're going to get less money in the system. Of course, right now they are lowering rates, so that'll help a little bit. But, what we really want to see is is who's going to be the next Japan? Where is the next source of which country is going to be the source of cheap money? This is so disgusting that we even have to talk about this, right? But we're talking about like borrowing money from other nations at a cheap price because we're a debt system rather than going and creating money or backing it by something where it really has value like gold, right? Where it can actually appreciate in value. So anyway, to me, Abs, I agree with you totally. You nailed it spot on. Nobody should take this news and be, oh my God, we got 12. The only thing that's going to probably bring new money in now into the cycle is the Clarity Act. Because what's going to happen is when you get that, that's going to place rules of the road. And then institutions will start shifting money. So you'll get a rotation of money. And that's not additional money in a sense where we're adding new money to the system. But if people are selling, I'll just make this up, gold and silver or stocks to move into crypto, then that's additional money coming into crypto that will drive the crypto market up. And that's how we're going to probably get the initial kickstart of liquidity, if you will, into the market once we get the Clarity Act. But I think until we get that, we're sitting there wondering, where are these new liquidity events going to happen? Well, it's not going to come from the Fed. We're not right now. I mean, I know Trump wants to, lower rates, but are they going to turn on the printing presses? Well, they typically only do that, Abs, during crises. So we had a crisis in 2008. You might remember that one where the housing bubble happened and they turned the printing presses on then. Then we had, obviously, COVID. They turned the printing presses on then. I don't see an event right now where I'm seeing them in urgency where they're going to turn the printing press on. We're going to get it. So for me, that's why I'm so bullish on the Clarity Act, because I think that's going to be the trigger to cause money to shift out of one type of asset and move into the crypto asset.
Well, Johnny, there's a whole nother narrative here, and I just want to go back to XRP for a moment because this is some pretty shocking data for our listeners. But guys, we did just pass 560 likes on today's episode. The goal for today, can we pass 589 during the show? If we pass that number, me and Johnny are sticking around for a little bit of overtime on today's episode, but I do want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the people who show up every single day. And believe me, there will be a moment when we're coming on here during a bull market and we're able to celebrate and we're able to talk about taking profit. But first, we're going to have to go through this bearish time where retail investors are hanging on by a thread. They need to be convinced as to why they're holding these assets. Let me just tell you, you're not going to find these returns in the stock market. You're not going to find these returns in real estate. And that's why it's worth it, from my perception, to withstand this volatility so that we can absorb that on the back end. It's horrible when things are going down 50, 60% in 5 months. It's amazing when things are going up 400% in 5 weeks, like we did back in November of 2024. This isn't fake. This isn't hype. This is the reality of the crypto market, guys. When momentum comes into this space, there's not another market on planet Earth where you get opportunities like this. But here's what Crypto Basic had to say. XRP seized realized gains of nearly $1 billion, Johnny Crypto, 908 million. The largest spike since 2022, as sentiment highlights. Market fear peaks as XRP drops 4.65% in a day, with the weekly loss near 9% and the monthly close to 30%. Historically, such realized loss spikes often precede significant rebounds in the XRP price. Analysts see $1.11 as possible, with the potential rebound to $4 to $10, citing the shakeout and regulatory catalysts. It goes to show people are selling their XRP at the worst time. This is my problem with retail investors, and I'm a retail investor, so it's like I can make these criticisms because I am one of you guys. Why aren't you taking profit last summer? Why aren't you taking profit in September? Why are you waiting for this asset to be down 65% before you start selling your bag? And that just goes to show that a lot of retail investors, they're like a plastic bag in the wind. Wherever the wind is going, that's the direction they're going to float. And so as difficult as that is, I know our community, the thousands of people who are on this show, you guys are different, right? You have the foresight, you have the insight, you're long-term investors, but you look at the social media platforms on YouTube, on X, on TikTok, and people get overly optimistic and then they get overly pessimistic. And right now, there's way too much pessimism, objectively, right, Johnny Crypto? I mean, even if you think about it from a price chart standpoint, and that's all, even if we only look at the price, this asset was $366 8 months ago. It's now $1.40. How much lower can we go? Right? With Bitcoin being down to $65,000, even the biggest bears in the market think a liquidity wick to 48,000. Maybe that would be the low. We are so close to the market bottom. And that's why I wanted to show our listeners the Clinton price chart, because again, I think it's a great illustration of just how much we've seen the XRP price regress. We're not waiting for a bear market. We're at the bottom of this thing, guys. And so that's exciting because there's a lot of opportunity in front of us. And when you talk about things like the Clarity Act, Johnny Crypto, these weren't narratives that were even on the table 12 months ago, right? Now, it could be approved. And so this is all going to have an impact on what we're going through today. We did pass that 589 like mark, guys. Massive thank you and a massive shout out to each and every single one of you for crushing our goals. Somebody said, no, I'm not smarter than that, Abs. My DCA is 366. Well, here's the best part. If your DCA is 366, buy it at $1.35. And guess what? Your DCA just got cut in half. Johnny, Krypto is yours.
That's absolutely right, Abs. 366, that is almost at the top. But again, you know, DCAing is one of my favorite things. I love the DCA in all time, just like a staircase. You know, you want to sell, you want to DCA out on the way up, and you want to DCA in on the way down. So to me, this is just a great opportunity here when you look at that. And when you look at, you know, when you talk about the upside potential of any market, you're right. I've been in stocks forever, bro. I've never, I mean, other than back in 96, 97, when we had that massive speculative bull run and things were going crazy. And, you know, you could have bought Amazon for $1 and dude, it went up to $120. You could have made that kind of money, but that was a one in a kind of one-offs in those, in the market. And again, that almost feels like we're having that same kind of market type coming up soon, or that not market, I should call market opportunity coming up soon in the crypto space. But it's not going to be just in the crypto space, Abs. It's going to be in two places. It's also going to be in the stock market. Don't forget, you actually have crypto companies now that are publicly traded. You got Coinbase, you got Circle, maybe someday you'll have Ripple. I think keep an eye on that. There's also going to be an opportunity to make money in the actual stock market, because that's where you're going to see Wall Street putting a lot of money in the actual companies. And then also, this is where it's unique and different. You're going to have the side market that you never had before in the crypto space. In this crypto market, where that I think that money is going to flow over into there as well. And really two opportunities to take advantage of it. So I look at it right now as we are pretty close to the bottom. I never try to catch the bottom, so I don't care. I'm always just going to DCA in. And one of the rules I use, Abs, is as I go further down, I put a little bit more in. So for example, if let's just use XRP, if you're at 366, that guy's example, and it moved to like $2 or $2.50, I might buy $100 or whatever worth, right? If it goes to $1.90, now I'm going to buy $200. I'll start to double more as we're going down, because that's when I want to be buying more as I'm coming down the staircase. I'm putting more and more. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket just on the first step down, because I know there's going to be multiple steps down. So just something to think about as you're DCAing in. Don't DCA all in at one shot. Try to come in at multiple levels. And as you go down further, again, not you, but that's how I do it. As I go down further, I put a little bit more in, which helps improve my DCA average price.
Well, guys, we did already pass 650 likes. Huge shout out and thank you. And one of the things that I always talk about here, it's not how much money you make, it's how much money you keep on the back end. That's why I always advocate for ITrust. By leveraging the Roth IRA, you get 0 taxes on your crypto gains. That means you deposit into your IRA with XRP at $1.40. You pay those taxes up front. If XRP goes to $10, that $8.60 gain on every token you own is tax-free in your Roth IRA. That's why I encourage everybody, click on the link below, sign up today. And if you use our link, you're going to get a $100 free sign-up bonus. This is no joke, guys. We give you the tools to be successful. That's why I'm always talking about ITrust, because we use these tools as well. But Johnny, this is another big article that we got yesterday. Ripple's Joel Katz, aka David Schwartz, on the XRPL versus Bitcoin debate. Look at what happened yesterday. So the oldest European crypto hedge fund came out and said some very damning things about Ripple. And what did he say exactly? Excuse me, guys, I do have a little burping here, but this is what he said. He said, we must reject all centralized blockchains. This includes Ripple, Canton, Stellar, Hedera, and Algorand. Centralization is not the future of finance. Requiring permission from an authority is not decentralized. Do not be fooled by their lies, as the truth will set us free. Ripple has a unique node list, which makes the validators effectively permissioned, as any divergence from this centrally published list would cause a fork, effectively giving the Ripple Foundation and the company absolute control over the chain. Now, he says something about Stellar here, and I think this applies as well. He said Stellar is a similar setup to XRP, except they call it a recommended tier 1 organization, which is published by the Stellar Development Foundation. However, just like XRP, a high overlap is required, or you risk forking off the network, effectively putting the power in the hands of the list creator. Well, the hypocrisy here is obviously that Ethereum is more centralized than XRP, right? And I think that everybody out there who watches our program knows this, but David Schwartz calls this out. Let's listen to what David Schwartz had to say. effectively giving the Ripple Foundation and company absolute power and control over the chain. This is as objectively nonsensical as claiming somebody with the majority of mining power can create 1 billion Bitcoins. The practical evidence tells the story. Transactions are discriminated against all the time on Bitcoin. Transactions are maliciously reordered and censored all the time on Ethereum. Nothing like this has ever happened to an XRPL transaction, and it's hard to imagine how it could. So what is this? This is more FUD. This is more fake narratives from the Bitcoin community telling people to stay away from some of the altcoins that they view as competition. And think about it from this direction as well. Calling Ripple centralized and calling Hedera centralized and then not referencing Ethereum would be, I can't even think of an analogy as crazy as that, right? So just give me your open take, Johnny Krypto. What do you think about David Schwartz's response here saying nothing like this has ever happened, and it's as ridiculous as saying somebody who controlled Bitcoin mining could mint 1 billion new Bitcoins?
This is just people not understanding. It's one of two things. It's either people not willing to take the time to understand how these systems work, or it's people trying to FUD the system because they know most people don't know how the systems work. Either way, it's manipulation on the part of the oldest hedge funds there. And you can't trust hedge funds. You got to be very, very careful with them, because they basically are rat snake. Where's my rat snake weasel? Where's my rat snake weasel meter? They are rat snake weasels at the highest level. You go watch Jim Cramer talk about when he ran a hedge fund. He literally tells you all the evil shit he did, and it was like all legal. I don't know how. He would call his buddies up and tell them, hey, make a fake story because I want the price to go down. He would buy options that he knew he didn't really want, just to scare people thinking it was going to go one direction. They did so much nasty manipulation to make money. When a hedge fund company says that, I don't give a flying crap. Or actually institutions too. You got to be very, very careful with those guys, because their only mission is to make money for the shareholders, and they don't care how they do it. So that it's awesome when you have a technology guy like Schwartz who knows the system and can come out and smack you around a bit, and tell you, no, that's not how it really works, and that can't happen. Nice try. But the problem is the damage could be done because people do trust hedge fund investors. They do trust what they say. They are going to take that guy's word for it, unfortunately, and start thinking like, oh, okay, maybe this isn't something that I should get invested in. And it is sad. And then, thank God there's shows like ours to come out and dispel this stuff, to be like, guys, listen, don't believe what a lot of these things, what these folks are saying. We know that the system is set up with validators. We know how it works. But we also know, as David said, that has never happened before. So I don't expect that kind of situation to happen where it's going to be fully centralized or fully run by Ripple. They can control the whole supply. It's just not how it's going to work.
I agree with that, Johnny. And you think about this from the perspective that we shared earlier in the show, where there is a certain set of very wealthy investors who are manipulating the crypto market. And we call those people Wall Street, right? It's like calling somebody the 1%. All that really means it's not a person. It's not a specific individual. It's a company where individuals are making decisions. And this big news that we got earlier today, I think could ripple through the entire crypto market if the manipulative selling is gone. I did just realize we're 42 minutes into today's episode. If you're enjoying today's content, smash that like button. We're only 10 likes away from passing 700 likes on today's episode. So massive thank you and shout out to each and every single one of you. But that's what I want our listeners to understand. This market is heavily manipulated in both directions. I wish it wasn't the case, but pretty soon, Johnny, there's going to be a day and age when we're coming on here and we're talking about a bull market, right? Unfortunately, that's not where we are today, but I wanted to show this graphic right here just to show people how stagnant and weird the crypto space is, right? Back in 2021, Ethereum was just under $2,000. Right now, just under $2,000. 2024, Bitcoin was 67,000. Right now, 67,000. 2021, Solana was $80. Right now, Solana's $80 5 years later. 2021, the BNB token was $600. 5 years later, the BNB token is $600. XRP 8-9 years ago was $1.38. Here in 2026, we're $1.38, right? So again, we have to take profit. We have to be patient. We have to have a plan for ourselves, because if we don't, guys, we're going to get cooked by the veteran traders that dominate this space today. And that's exactly what I opened up the episode with. But we are going to begin winding it down. I want to give a massive thank you to every single person who enjoyed this content. If you had fun, you enjoy this episode, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. You're going to get 2 updates every single day from us. And I'm going to play one more video here to kind of wrap it up. Here's some advice from a veteran crypto trader talking about what he sees every single bear market. Here it is.
The same people laughing at you for buying crypto while it's red are going to be the same people asking you how you did it next cycle when you're up 10,000, 20,000%. There's one thing that's consistent after being through 3 cycles that I see every single time. It's almost impossible to set a top, but I've bought every major fall, every bottom, every single bottom I've purchased. As long as you continue to buy, don't overextend yourself, and to continue to accumulate, you'll do fine. The only people that lose in crypto are the people that give up. I know it hurts. I get it. You might look like an idiot. I remember when people were calling me a scammer in 2016, 2017. I've had lost friends over crypto because I told them to get into it and they got wrecked. I've invested in Ponzi schemes. I mean, I've pretty much done everything you could possibly do negative-wise in cryptocurrency. And every single time we come out the other side swinging, making more money, and getting richer and richer. It's only right? There's always right and wrong. Everybody got an opinion. It's only right if it works, okay? But sometimes it might take 3 to 4 years for it to work. Are you patient or are you going to give up? That's a question that only you can answer with yourself.
So there's a lot of really good advice in that clip, guys. And I think the most important thing about that clip is, first of all, don't try to get your friends and family into the crypto market, right? That's one of the things that you can do to avoid the liability of being, because if you tell somebody buy XRP and the price goes down and they don't even know why they're holding it, they just think they're going to get wealthy because you told them to, that burden is going to fall on you. They're going to blame you for that. The second big thing is that you don't focus too much on trying to catch the top, meaning sell the top, and you don't focus too much on trying to buy the bottom. Instead, you implement the strategies that Johnny Krypto had just outlined. You dollar cost average in. When prices are falling on the assets you understand, you can even double down on a lot of those assets in the process. And I did want to address this really quick, guys. Joseph Ray, big thank you for the $4.99 and the membership. We are past the reef and in uncharted waters. Nobody knows what's coming. Enjoy the ride. Exactly, guys. Nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows exactly what's going to occur, but I think we can look at the catalyst on the horizon and say there's no major momentum coming in. Brent commented, will any T-bills start being on stablecoins? That's going to take until after the Clarity Act is passed, guys. But Johnny, we're 48 minutes into the show. I know I said a lot there. I'm just going to give you the open floor, guys, and then we're going to wrap it up. We do already have 3,700 live listeners, 1,450 watching on YouTube. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button. And remember, if you want to take advantage of tax-free crypto gains, it's not hyperbole. We do need some, Johnny Boy needs some, what do they call that? WD-40 on that chair, my friends. But if you want to take advantage of tax-free crypto gains, the smartest thing you can do, invest in the Roth IRA, pay those taxes up front, and that way when these massive gains come in on the back end, Johnny, our listeners, they ain't worried about the tax bill. They're worried about their profit, guys. So Johnny, 60, 80 seconds, whatever, floor is yours, and then we'll wrap it up.
Absolutely, Abs. I couldn't agree with you more. If you're going to be in this space and we know you can make a shit ton of money, why give some of it to the government when you can actually keep it all yourself if you do it through your Roth IRA? That's why I absolutely love ITrust Capital. But I want to get back to what the man was saying walking through the street, right? He was talking about buying. He doesn't try to sell, doesn't try to catch the top, doesn't try to catch the bottom, but you're buying on the way to the bottom. And actually, that's a smart approach. Now, once you're at the bottom, now remember, Abs is going to flip soon. We're going to go the other direction. And I'm very, very excited to start. We have a brand new feature we just launched with Merlin. It'll be coming out this week, Abs. And this is the thing people have been asking for. We have now simplified and created a feature. It's called an exit strategy builder, where you can build an exit plan with literally just 2 clicks using a Fibonacci tool right within Merlin itself. Very, very excited about it.
So Johnny, I'm a little confused because it was a little stagnant there. So why don't you explain exactly what's happening, guys? Because I think he bounced around it. All we're doing here is we're trying to set you up for success, right? If you know where to buy, if you know where to sell, you're going to have a better chance of keeping the profit that comes into your portfolio. And Johnny, you focus a lot on Merlin, right? Johnny is the CEO, the co-founder, the man, the engine behind the company that is Merlin. But the reason that we talk about it all the time is because we use this product, right? And we're constantly building, we're constantly making amendments here. Now, for my personal opinion, the first thing I would do, I leverage ITrust. That's what I do. I want to focus on how much money I keep on the back end. But the second thing I did many years ago was I created a plan for myself back in 2022. Because what did I know, Johnny? A bull market was going to come. And if I didn't take the profit, I was going to get caught up in it just like we did here. I mean, let's be real, guys. We're in a bear market right now. I didn't take a lot of profit in 2025. I basically took I took no profit. So one of the mistakes that I think our listeners can look at my mistake and kind of not make for themselves is set up some arbitrary price targets. Like if XRP goes to $8, and you've made 100 grand, it might be smart to take 10 grand off the table. It might be smart to take 5 grand in dry powder, put it on the sidelines. And that's why we talk about these concepts, because in the end, we're going to get a bull market. People are going to have a chance to take profit. And if they don't, they're going to come sliding down on the back end. So Johnny, I just want to make sure we clearly explain like what we're doing here. We're not launching this product to generate revenue, right? I don't get paid from Merlin. We're not making direct money off of Merlin here. What we're doing is we're giving you the products that we're using. So just wanted to make that absolutely clear for our listeners.
Yeah, and I think what's important is a lot of our listeners, right? I know they're out there and they always say to me, the biggest problem you guys all have been saying is, Johnny, I don't know how to pick exit targets. And Abs, we just made that extremely simple right now. I'm going to show this real quick. It is so simple. It literally takes 10 seconds. So guys, in our new thing, when you're Merlin, if you just want to create an exit strategy and you don't know what targets, you can just click this button right here and it's going to pop up a little new tool here. And Abs, it's literally just picking the high and the low. And check this out. I basically can look at any chart. Let's just give it a second to load up. And as it does, what you can see is you just pick your high point of your prior bull run, pick a low point, and then just tell it how many targets you want. Let's put 4 for now, just for the sake of this demo. Hit the cat, and boom, there they are. It's that simple, Abs. Users can now go and create your exit targets. And why is this important? Because Abs just said something important. He said, I only care about my Roth ITrust. Well, yeah, but your Roth ITrust is only good if you know when to sell. If you don't know when to sell, you're going to do what Abs did. You're going to be a rubbernecker. You're just going to keep waiting. It's going to keep going up. And he just told you he didn't take no profits in 2025.
Well, just for full transparency, just because I'm always totally honest with you guys, I have a really diversified approach where I have like my long-term 20-year bags in my Roth. I'm not going to be taking any profit in my Roth, just to be honest. The way that I'm doing it, guys, is I'm putting that money in the Roth with the anticipation that it's going to sit there until I'm Johnny Krypto's age. That's kind of how I'm playing it. And then I have a whole nother portfolio, which is like short-term trading. I keep, I don't want to say a number out loud, but I keep a certain number on exchanges just in case big momentum comes in. I want to make a big buy. I want to make a big sell. But I've kind of compartmentalized my portfolio. I just don't want to confuse people. Someone said Merlin commercial. This is an infomercial, actually. Johnny Krypto came in with the infomercial. We appreciate it. This person said $5 donation. When's the next bull market based on your knowledge? Here's what I can say, because thank you for the $5 donation. If we follow a typical 4-year cycle, the bear market would end in October. That's the unfortunate truth. If we're going through something different, we're going to see something different. We're going to get that bull market coming in after the Clarity Act. Market really accelerates. I hear a lot of traditional people saying August with the new Fed chair. That could be a major change here. But guys, this is a user of Merlin. This guy says Merlin is a great product. Love it, especially powerful people that have many wallets. That's what I was trying to say earlier where I compartmentalize my stuff. I track it all through Merlin. But with my Roth IRA, I mean, maybe I just don't know enough yet, but I'm really using that as like a 20-year bag, if that makes sense, Johnny Krypto. So that's just my thoughts behind how people could utilize this. I do want to give a massive thank you. We're 52 minutes into the episode. I would encourage everybody, click on the link below and sign up for Merlin. Here's the best part. It's free for 30 days. So if you like it, you can get in there, create your plan, use those strategies, and then you can cancel the app. If you don't like the app, you're never going to be charged. But we think our product is so good that most of you guys are going to stay. That's kind of why we offer it for free. But Johnny, big thank you to you for joining us today. What's awesome, guys, Johnny Krypto, he's a new man. I don't know if we made the retirement thing. I don't know if you want me to do that, but I do.
Sure.
Yeah. So guys, Johnny Krypto officially retired after 35 years.
2 days.
Well, he had his retirement party already. So I'm going to say for anybody out there, he's got 48 more hours to go. But he had his retirement party last week on Friday. He had his surgery on Monday, since we're going to give the full details.
Well, the surgery got
canceled. So now he's been called into work for an additional week. So he was supposed to retire on Friday. Massive thank you. Let's congratulate Johnny on his official retirement. 35 years. And guess what, Johnny? You're living the good life now. Now he's living the good life. He doesn't have to go to work for that 9 to 5. He's going to be here more consistently. I know he says that. We're not going to put any pressure on Johnny. I'm appreciative that he gives us any of his time. But Johnny, I'm looking forward to having you around more, and I wanted to congratulate you on air. Congrats on your retirement. We're going to do amazing things going forward on this channel. But outside of that, it's going to be really cool to kind of see who you evolve into. Now it's not going to be work from boat. It's going to be record GEC from boat this summer. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I hope you don't mind like this. I might be bouncing around a little bit. Yeah, there might, and there ain't going to be no screen. It's going to be just lake water and trees. But, I'm excited. Abs Friday will be the official last day of my 30-year career. So we can celebrate more on Friday. There will definitely be party at the lake house and so many other things. And it's just a great accomplishment. I would just encourage everybody, write down your goals. I always had a goal, right? Retiring at 55. And, you're only going to hit them if you write them down. So make sure you write them down, and you all can get there too, just with proper planning and making sure that you're just thinking about your future. And I think right now, Abs, with us being invested in crypto, this is another almost once in a lifetime opportunity. And I wish I knew how to play this right. If I had played this right back, we'll get some lake shows for sure. If I had played this right back in 97, I would have been retired a long time ago. And I think there will be an opportunity for many, many people, if they're patient and they get in this space and just wait for crypto to be able to change their life. And instead of hearing about the internet millionaires that we kept hearing about in 2000, and they would show these young kids, 21-year-old, driving in Ferraris and Lamborghinis because they made so much money off of that 3-year bull run. I think the similar thing is going to happen here with crypto. You're going to see crypto millionaires and guys like you and everybody in our chat are going to be driving Ferraris and Lamborghinis because of all the money they made in this space. But the key is being patient, letting it play out, and then having an exit plan, not to beat the horse. But if you don't, you're just going to watch it go all the way up and all the way down, and you're not going to, then you're like, where'd all my money go? So don't let that happen to you.
Johnny goes, not to beat the horse, takes out a sledgehammer, smashes his head right away. But guys, I do want to give a big thank you. I do want to give a big thank you to everybody who showed up today. We got 3,800 live listeners. If you enjoyed this content, smash the like button. And remember, we're only showing you 2 tools. We talk about Merlin. That's Johnny's app, built it, ground up. That's not a company that sponsors us. That's Johnny Krypto's brilliance at work. And then we got ITrust. This is a product that I use. This is a product that I love. And this is something that I think every single one of our listeners who has a long-term vision can implement and apply to their own portfolio. But if you enjoyed today's content, smash that like button. We already passed nearly 800 likes on today's episode. And Crypto Mike said, yo, I made it to a live. Congratulations, Crypto Mike. We love to see you, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Now, Johnny, I'm going to play your introduction for respect purposes, but we'll bring it home. We love you guys. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you in the next one. So if you're looking to implement the same strategies that we do here on Good Evening Crypto, I would encourage all of our listeners to click on the Merlin link below and sign up for ITrust Capital as well. Now, why are our listeners going to do this? By leveraging the Merlin application, you can create a profit plan for yourself so you know exactly where you're going to be exiting this market. But leveraging ITrust through a Roth IRA product, you can take advantage of tax-free crypto gains during this crypto bull market. So I would encourage everybody, click on the link down below, sign up for ITrust today, and take advantage of our $100 free sign-up bonus.
Well, you don't know much about crypto. You know nothing about nothing. You fake news.
I'm going to be so proud of you, President, and I don't care about that. But you are going to be so